Let's go back to this matter of personal loan versus the revolving loan. There's a difference between the two. A personal loan is something else. A revolving loan is totally different. Sometimes you go to the bank and apply for a loan, and then they give you a revolving loan. Some of you, they do not know what kind of a loan you have. But a revolving loan, sometimes you see yourself not getting out, and I'll show you how. So let me explain that a revolving loan is a type of credit facility that offers you the flexibility to borrow the money that you've already repaid. Mean that I've paid a certain amount, maybe up to 15%, but you can see it's still available on the system. You understand? So that you also be tempted to use it. Let's say your initial revolving loan was 20,000. You've already paid 7,000. Okay? You've already paid how much? 7,000. But when you see a credit of another additional 7,000 available, you borrow another 7,000. And then the interest will start all over again. You are paying 20,000, all right? But now it's a revised loan because now you've also withdrawn from that particular loan. Now you are paying every month and you are seeing that this interest is not going up. It's been 2 years. This debt is not moving anywhere. And I don't mention that particular bank that always give people revolving loans. I won't mention it. But I can see a lot of you. You understand? So the loan term is an open-ended, and interest is payable on the loan will be determined by your credit score and your affordability. So it means you will get the revolving loan, but if your credit score is lower, it means you will have a higher interest. And if your affordability is squeezed, it means you will have what? A higher interest. You understand that? So those are the few things that I need you to be clear about. A revolving loan is very different from what? From a personal loan. A personal loan involves a once-off amount that you will not loan against. Because a revolving loan, it means you have a loan and you are loaning against the first loan. Meaning that now, in essence, it's like you have two. Okay? The money they are saying you can simply access is like, in truthful sense, you are taking the second. All right. So you repay on a personal loan, you repay the amount borrowed via a certain fixed amount. Okay? And then interest rate obviously is determined by your credit score. A revolving loan shares similarities with like a credit card or an overdraft, but it's not a credit card, it's not an overdraft, it's a revolving loan, it's not also a personal loan. So that's one of the few things that you need to understand when it comes to these matters. So if you don't manage the revolving loan well, you could end up with more credit than you can pay off. This could be having a negative impact on what? On your credit score. So, and remember, revolving loan has a higher interest. So, that is why it's even becoming more costly because of what? Higher interest. That is why, even if you are desperate for a loan, but question which type of the loan is this? I want to make sure I apply for the right loan which I can start to pay and finish. Okay? Because you end up having a revolving loan. And why I'm answering this question is because most people, they are asking me, Sboniso, what's happening? I've been paying for 2 years. I took 70,000, I'm owing 90 now. What is happening? It seems like the interest, the more I pay, the more the loan is getting bigger. Who has encountered something like that? You are faithful paying, yes. They can attest to that. It's because the facility you got is not the right one for you. The higher the interest, the higher the commission for a consultant. So that is why at the end of the day, they will sell you something that will benefit them even more in a moment of you being desperate. I hope we're clear on that one. So if you fall behind on this payment, the account will be closed from further spending is also impacting on your credit score, and the interest is high. So you are more like having a financial prison. You understand what I mean? And then last point, when it comes to debt consolidation, most of the time is more like financial suicide. Because you are borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, it means you are digging another hole to make up for another one. For me, it doesn't make sense. When you market it, you are saying you will pay all your debts and you will have one bigger debt. You understand what it means? You pay all your debts. We borrow money to pay all your debts. And then you will have with a bigger debt. Okay? Meaning that when all your debt are combined, the amount you were paying is now bigger than the one you were paying looking at all your previous debts. To me, it doesn't make sense. Consolidation loan interest is also high. You get my point? And the second last question I want to answer, because these are the questions I always receive on our YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok platforms. Someone asked me, Sboniso, is it wise to take a loan and buy a car cash and have a car, or to take like a finance, proper car finance? All right, I will say for a new car, it's all cool to take what? A car finance. Because it has a lower interest than the personal loan. You understand what I mean? And you have a new car that will be more even reliable. And you have like 5 to 6 years to pay it off. Obviously, you can do additional payments if you afford to speed up what? The process. Because if you do additional payments on your car repayments, it means the additional amount will appear on your statement as advance amount. Okay? So if ever again you have a situation like COVID or lockdown, you won't be in the problem because you are already ahead. For that reason, that is why now I'm starting to encourage people that if you afford to pay extra, do so. Are we cool on that one? Yeah, it will be an advance amount and it will assist you. Someone was asking, can I be able to do this even on a personal loan? Yes. You are allowed to finish even your loan earlier. But in terms of a car, remember that the interest is pre-computed. Meaning that some of the interest you will pay even if you finish it up early because it's already pre-computed. Are we clear on that one? Pre-computed means it's already included in the price. So the outstanding balance, if it's 600, I will have to push. Sometimes they can give you a reasonable discount, but when you negotiate, because that's another thing you need to do. Always negotiate with your creditors and say, it seems like I'm paying more and it makes me to suffer and suffocate, financially speaking. Can we have a review on this one? You can even ask for a review on your insurance as well. Some of you, they don't negotiate even interest rate, insurance, and all those sort of things. To keep a good relationship, always negotiate. Ask them, can they lower my premiums? Because you know what, I've been approached by insurance so and so that if I transfer my package to them, they will give me a very competitive, reasonable premium. But I want to stay with you. Can you do something? Then they will obviously do it. Don't keep quiet, negotiate. All right? Because the interest has risen, how many times now? 10 times from 2021. And on the 21st of September, it's another interest rate announcement. Something is coming up. So that is why you mustn't keep quiet. You must know your right as per Consumer Protection Act as well as per National Credit Act. These are the things that we teach our people to understand so that you stand and be bold when you are actually engaging the creditors. And the creditors will be happy to know that I'm dealing with someone who knows his or her story. Are you getting something out of this? Yes. That's cool. All right. So, and then the last point was about, I think I've explained all the points. But someone was asking me which one is better than taking a personal loan and buy a car cash, or taking normal car finance. For me, I will always say normal car finance, unless you are buying a second-hand car for 60,000, 70,000. Then maybe a personal loan can also work. The car is a secured loan, meaning that it can be taken back when you fail. Okay? And then a personal loan is a personal loan. At some point, it can end up for if ever prescribed. But guys, do not get prescription intentionally. Be responsible and pay your debts. Don't run away, Molife. Don't run. Do what? Pay what? Your debts. That's what I'm teaching you. And negotiate to pay a good, reasonable interest. You have a question on this topic, my friend? Yes, sir. That's a good question from a brother. What do you do if you do not qualify for a car finance, but you qualify for a personal loan that can afford you to buy a car? You understand? Yeah, it does happen. You know, more especially, as I was explaining in terms of the revolving loan, sometimes they will give it to you with a higher interest because you are high risk. You understand what I mean? But for a car, like an asset, sometimes they will have a threshold and say no. But for a personal loan, if a company or my Shonisa is seeing that I can still squeeze from this bank statement, they can give you something, even though you are high risk. You know, we are credit providers as well. Sometimes when we put your ID, it flash red. You know, we have red on the system. We can see that, on these ones you are behind 20,000, 10,000 here. And when we look at the bank statement, you can see that on a payday, everything is finished. I don't know. But someone will say, you know what? I can actually try and squeeze on this salary. I can still get something. Because, you know, as credit providers, we start to wait on the system from the 29th. Okay, you're getting paid on the 31st, but on the 29th, we're already like this. First come, first serve. So on as soon as it lands, no learner lands on your account. It's welcome by warm hands. You just get it. Sometimes have you noticed that before the notification of your payment of your salary, you get a notification that a loan has taken. The salary notification will come after 8, after every other thing has been done. After your salary, you will get a last notification that's saying, no, it's saying outstanding balance we didn't get, because it was a first come, first serve on your situation. So, one thing I always say, there's a saying that says, nowadays, in the modern day, our people are no longer slaves in chains. They are slaves in debts. Because debts that is out of hand, not well managed, can enslave you. So that is why we need to approach and confront the situation of debts in a proper and open way. I sit with people sometimes who come into my office who are heavily indebted. And when they come to my office, what I will simply do, because they will narrate their story. Sometimes someone will cry. I have an experience in crying. I will wait for you until you finish. Then we continue. Because I have to give you solutions. You understand? Let me tell you the honest truth about that. Because some, when they were getting married, they said, till death do us apart. And they did do them apart. Not death, but death. And with the right person who can guide you. You understand? Like a right short stranger in front of you who can simply guide you and say, you know what? These are your rights. As you are in debt, but these are your rights according to the National Credit Act. You are not supposed to pay debts that has expired, meaning that it's a prescribed debt that is older than 3 years without communication. You understand that point? Someone who comes back and say, you remember you were having a 1,000 account from Starterfort or Sales House or PG. And you say, yes, I remember. It was 1994. You were owing 300. We can make an arrangement so that you pay back. If you agree, they will start to say, you know how much you are owing now? 10,000. Now you've already agreed. It means it comes back with all the interest. What happened is that some people will buy the debt book and try to pursue you. You understand? So they are pursuing the older debt that you're no longer supposed to pay. And if you make an agreement, then you will pay. But only the unsecured debt, like personal loans, retail cards, but for the car and the property, those are secured. It's going to be repossessed. Furniture is going to be repossessed. Are we together on that one? And that is why I always like to teach you to understand the element and the issues of debts. Because when I was asking you who is actually sinking on the second topic of credit and debts, most of you say we need help. And the help is not about giving you more credit. It's about giving you education. Understand how it is well managed. Because the last point is that you can use debts to buy assets that will pay for themselves, meaning that you are using credit positively. You get my point? Let me close this topic by answering your question, what to do if I qualify for personal loan, but I don't qualify for a car. But the personal loan that they can give me can afford me to buy a car. The second thing, my brother, it will depend on the affordability. You check if you afford to pay the loan premiums, and avoid it by all means if it's going to be a revolving loan, unless you're going to be disciplined. If it's a personal loan, let's say of 100,000, you are given 3 years to pay it off, and you think you will afford to do it, then you can do it. But if you can afford to pay the loan in that instance, I will say go for a car finance. Look for the points that are actually hindering you. Improve on your credit score. Get the car finance right if you are considering buying the new one. But if you are considering a Polo, a second-hand one, he's smiling. He's thinking about it already. Well, Polos are actually reliable. Even the second one can actually takes you some many miles. So you can also go for it. So it depends on individual financial circumstances. There's no straight answer. It depends on the affordability and the plans that you have. I hope I've answered your question. Is that fine? Okay, thanks, my brother.